Welcome to my channel. This is Divested Diamonds. You have arrived. Hello, ladies. Please do me a favor and click the like button as you watch this video. Thank you kindly. Okay, before I begin this video, I would like to address something. Now, I wasn't going to say anything about this because obviously the person in question is looking for attention, and I did not want to give them any shine. But things are getting out of hand. I have a stalker. He's a black male YouTuber who's clearly looking for attention. This ratatouille-looking male has been using BWE and divestment content creators' video clips to try and grow his channel, but failing miserably. Let's call this male Dusty On Demand. Listen, Dusty, and I know you're watching. You're always watching. Because after you've watched my video, you're probably going to go back to your channel to do a video of your own and then tag me in it. Why? Please leave black women alone. We know that a lot of you black males are obsessed with black women you can't have. That is why you insist on playing these games. I'm not interested in playing these games with you black males. Keep me out of your video titles. Don't at me, don't mention me, don't tag me, and for fuck's sake, don't put links in my comment section underneath these ladies' comments in an effort to redirect traffic to your channel. Pathetic. Not only is that rude, it's incredibly disrespectful, and I wish I could say, have some self-respect. But most of you grapes don't understand what that means. Leave me alone. I don't need your attention, nor do I want it. And you're not going to use my name, as well as other divester content creators, for a come-up. We're not your mules or your meal ticket. Keep harassing me and see what happens. I have already informed certain individuals about you, and if you don't stop your shit, you're going to be staring at concrete in your new 6x8 luxury pad with your new companion named Big Dog. Listen, idiot. Putting fair use at the beginning of your videos for content you're not doing commentary on goes against YouTube policy, genius. Every content creator whose video clips you've used has the right to complain about you and have your channel taken down. You grapes are shameless. Even on public platforms, you still manage to follow black women around like dogs in heat, looking for attention while attempting to make money off of them. What is wrong with you? Get a real job. Like I said, those who need to know about you have already been informed. You keep this up and I'll submit your name to the FBI. I'm not playing. Most of you are already on the watch list anyway. Listen, I'm not one of your weirdo family members who will coddle you and shield you from law enforcement. I'm more than happy to feed you to the boys in blue. I'm more than happy to call the feds on your sorry behind. Let me tell you something. You are small fish in a big pond. I've taken on corporations before. I wouldn't play with me if I were you. You're barking up the wrong tree. You've been warned. On that note, let's get into this video. So I just want to say thank you to Talisha J for sending me the video that we're going to be talking about, showcasing the mindset of trans women who are now becoming relationship coaches and speaking from the point of view of black women. You know, the internet is full of idiots, especially in the manosphere. All you have to do these days is give the illusion of being an intellect, talk disparagingly about black women, and you have a winner. The need to gaslight women while making money off of them using this cowardly act has become a phenomenon. Since the birth of the toxic blackmail club of YouTube, there has been a rise in the black male population using their inadequacies as males to shift the blame onto black women as it pertains to their failures in successfully building a quote unquote community. You have grown men old enough to be someone's grandfather speaking to and about black women extremely disparagingly because besides being losers in life, the hatred that they have for women who look like them is actually something that they use as a form of income to sustain their lack of finances. The toxic manosphere has over the years become the training facility for black males who have no direction in life. Incels, losers who are most likely tired of their regular five-finger girlfriend and Pornhub. These males actually wonder why they cannot get a high-quality woman of value. It's insane because, let's face it, it's very ambitious of them to aim that high when they hang so low. They cannot seem to grasp the concept of how real relationships work. A true man, a true leader, will have his shit together before proposing to a woman. This is a foreign concept to a lot of black men. A true man would also get to know that woman to some degree before putting a ring on her finger. It's more than just looks. If the woman is highly educated, that's not a negative thing. Matter of fact, he can use that to his advantage, especially during social gatherings outside or inside of the home. There are 5 main things that will impress a high caliber woman before she says yes to being your wife. Number 1, your intellect. It's a very sexy quality to have because thinking of the future, should you choose to have children, it's important to procreate with someone of a superior mind. Hopefully, the combination of your DNA would produce outstanding offspring. Number 2, ambition. Someone who's able to dream and turn those dreams into a reality. What that essentially translates to is the ability to create a stable environment for you, your kids, and future generations. Number 3, emotional intelligence. A quality woman appreciates this probably more than anything else because it encompasses a lot of things. Number 4, respect. Most quality women want to be in a relationship with a man who is respectful, someone who treats them not as their mother's replacement or a maid, someone who recognizes the clear differences between men and women, but still understands that women aren't second-class citizens, someone who doesn't think or believe that men are above women simply because they, quote unquote, run the show. Men and women have different functions in relationships. It doesn't make one better than the other. That is why it's important to respect those differences. There are things that men can do that women cannot, and vice versa. And that's okay. Number 5, love. A woman wants to be loved and cherished by her man. Otherwise, what is the point of the relationship? Part of loving someone also involves exercising that emotional intelligence and making sure that their needs are met, and vice versa. Part of the reason a lot of people fail at relationships is because they conflate how relationships are versus how they are, quote unquote, supposed to be. And you have to think about this. Supposed to be from whose point of view? Dr. Greg Matos was absolutely right when he said that there was an increasing number of lonely men. The reason a lot of women today are choosing to be single and refusing to jump through hoops for Scooby snacks is because gone are the days when women needed men. Now, let me explain this because I think it goes over a lot of people's heads majority of the time. The needs of women haven't changed. Exercising those needs is what's different today. There was a time when women weren't able to navigate this world the way that they would have liked. Men were dominant. They still are. Men were dominant within the workforce and every other facet of life. And the few women who were out there as part of the workforce were given mundane jobs to do. Jobs that utilized a lot of their emotional intelligence, like nursing, housekeeping, or being a housewife. Now, some of you are probably thinking, well, being a housewife is not a job. See, that's where you're wrong. A lot of those women had dreams and aspirations, but they couldn't fulfill them because of how society was set up. A lot of women were at home, taking care of the family and running the household, which is hard in itself. The only thing that men did was go out, work, bring home the bacon, and the wife would do the rest. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to minimize what men did. A lot of them worked hard. It's just that women did more. And if you were a Black woman in those days, you were probably part of the workforce because you were not afforded the luxury of sitting at home and being pampered or even being a housewife in majority of the cases. Because again, we're not a monolith. See, you had to be presentable for your husband. You had to look sexy. You had to make sure that the children were taken care of. You had to make sure that your husband was taken care of first. You were basically the machine behind the smooth running of your household because you represented your husband and your kids. If your kids were badly behaved, guess who was to blame for that? You. Not you and your husband. You. Because you were the one who spent majority of the time with those kids. It's actually very evident today in the so-called community. Every time that Black women complain about Black men, there's always some genius that shows up and says, well, who's raising these males that you keep complaining about? The funny thing is, they actually think that they're saying something intelligent here. The question here should be, why are you having children with women you don't like and punishing the children for existing? They didn't ask to be here. Look, while both parties are to blame for engaging in unprotected sex, which results in the birth of a child, why are these women left to raise these kids by themselves? It takes two, doesn't it? What have these kids ever done to be abandoned physically, emotionally, and financially when they carry half your DNA? It's easy to blame the woman for opening her legs to a two-bit loser, but I can also guarantee that for some of you, the decision to abandon your kids happens once you realize that it actually takes work to raise another human being. You are so used to having everything done for you. That's why you can't handle it when these babies arrive. I've heard from multiple women how some of you will sit there and plan to have these babies with these same women, but pull the whole bait and switch once the baby arrives. Just admit it. A lot of you Black males don't like children. Most of you are too emotionally vacant to take care of children. So going back to what I was saying before, women were reliant upon men because of how society was set up. A lot of the practices back then were also reliant upon Christianity and other religions to guide your marriages, most of which are written by men, where women are portrayed in a less than favorable light. Women have always been portrayed as only being good for four things: to have sex with, bear children, cook, and clean. More emphasis on the sex and childbearing. A lot of religious doctrine is oppressive to women, but elevates men to godlike status. Women were essentially treated like children, and you see this in Islam today. In a lot of Islamic countries, women aren't allowed to go anywhere uncovered or without a male escort. As a woman with younger male siblings, those male siblings are actually more respected than you are. They have the right to punish you for anything that's considered inappropriate in the absence of your father. Now let that sink in. And it's not just religion. Toxic cultures in many different regions of the world treat women and girls as the bottom of the barrel. In countries that still practice dowry or bride price, women are literally sold for a lot of money under the guise of tradition and customs. Now, people can defend it and call it whatever they want. It's a transaction to me. And as long as something is created by man, it can be dismantled. No one talks about what happens after the fact once a lot of these women are sold into these marriages. Most women are mistreated, they're abused, they're treated like property, etc. The boys and men in these families are favored because they're the ones who get to carry the family name. The girls and women are used as pawns to bring in that money, and even more profitable when they are virgins. So women have come a long way, and some of these oppressive practices are still being carried out today. As always, if you mention any of these atrocities or speak up against them, you are dubbed a radical feminist. And as far as tradition and customs go, those are mostly created by man. And the issue here is that people are willing to keep practicing these toxic ideals because identity is attached to them. This is our culture, they say. This is our identity, they'll tell you. Who are you to tell us otherwise? But nobody ever stops to think that these toxic practices are, number one, outdated, number two, serve a purpose in the continued abuse of girls and women, and number three, the only people who stand to benefit are men. This is how many cultures get away with these abuses. They claim that these practices have been going on for thousands of years, therefore must be maintained, even though girls and women are usually the ones who are hurt in the process. They don't care. They really don't. The differences between older generations of women who had to rely on men due to how society was set up back then and today's modern woman is that education, opportunities, and the ability to be able to live your dreams as a woman is not solely attached to a man. I mean, yes, it's nice to be in a relationship. A lot of women want to get married, but there are also those who don't care for marriage. It doesn't make it a bad thing. Unlike a lot of women who came before us, marriage today is an absolute choice that won't keep tongues wagging if you choose not to do it. Yes, people will talk. They'll judge you for it, but it's not as bad as it once was. It all depends on who you're surrounded by. Part of the reason there's been an increasing number of love gurus trying to sell Black women the marriage pipe dream is because it's lucrative for them. The problem is, it yields little to no results because the people giving you tips on how to go about it don't know what they're talking about. It's the same old chestnut. People taking other people's talking points and repackaging it as a solution. Meanwhile, a lot of these people have never been married. They aren't in long-term relationships, can't last 6 months in any relationship because deep down, they don't know what it takes to be in a successful relationship. It's all a ploy to gain social media following while making money from the ignorance of those who desperately seek whatever it is that they're selling. Most men today do not have what it takes to be providers or husbands because they live in a constant state of delusion. For some reason, they think that a woman's worth is predicated upon being aggressively competitive with other women for a ring, even after marriage. These males strongly believe that you as a woman must continue to be a show dog for Scooby snacks, or else you will be replaced by younger, big booty Tina. Most of these males do not know how to maintain a quality relationship based on mutual respect, unity, communication, understanding, compromise, and financial intelligence. They have no clue. And this is nothing but a cash cow and a bashing session for the quote-unquote modern woman. Matter of fact, they are so desperate to bash women, so much so that they will have a biological male on their show, moonlighting as a woman and claiming that what he has to say is relevant. This coming from a male who has never lived one day in his life as a real woman. The following situation was very funny to me at first because Mr. Mr. Let Go, might as well have been talking to himself in the mirror. Take a look.
I feel like I've listened to you all make a lot of invalid points about the way that women show up in society, right? And then the focus and the goalpost moving is ridiculous. When we talk about the ways in which women serve as important beings in society, we're talking about people who can literally conjure life within their womb. And as Tahoe said, it's not just about incubation. It's about
Respectfully, women cannot conjure life. Okay, conjure is like magic. Conjure is when you tap a stick on a hat and a rabbit pops out. No, you have sex with a man, so you don't conjure life. Go ahead. I just want to say that.
Okay, semantics, but okay.
I have to chime in here as well and say, women don't conjure life. We are not out here flying on broomsticks during witching hour. A child is created with sperm and an egg in the uterus, something that Hope Giselle will never have. It's not conjured up. This is not witchcraft. The reason I have to say anything at all on that is because trans people have been going out of their way to rewrite womanhood. They're trying to change everything when it comes to the female form. It's unacceptable. In the name of inclusivity, women have been subjected to atrocious labels just to make these males feel good about themselves. Enough already. We've been called cervix havers, birthing people, and saying things like, women can have penises too. Where? And recently, that cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs wannabe woman referred to the vagina as a Barbie pouch. Do we look like a joke to you? And the crazy Democrats had the audacity to invite that person to the White House. The jokes keep writing themselves. It's the disrespect for me. But I digress. So you have two people having a conversation about heterosexual relationships, and the gag is both are male. So who are they speaking on behalf of? Not women. Hope Giselle is a biological male and doesn't speak for real women. Biological females with XX chromosomes can speak for themselves. He's doing it again, just like he did on Fox Soul. And Mr. Let Go, whether he realizes it or not, shows just how low his IQ is. Does he not see the heavy filter and strong jawline? Like I said, they are out here trying to appear smart when their default is dumb. Let's continue.
Anyway, So when we talk about the idea of women being important or women being beneath you, how can someone who literally gave birth to the bones in the air and all of those things, how can someone who literally gave birth to the bones in the air and all of those things that you...
Okay, did this woman just say women give birth to the bones and the air? See, this is the problem right here. Women spend so much energy trying to use this one thing. This one thing. Hey, we give birth. Okay, we help you give birth because we have the actual sperm. Like, get over it. And then now, I guess giving birth doesn't make women feel valuable enough. So now they got to lie and say they give birth to air. What in the hell?
First of all, Mr. Let Go, the joke is on you. That is not a woman you're talking to. Is this guy really that dense? Or is this a joke? Again, when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. What kind of response do you expect from someone who is a biological male and isn't capable of giving birth? This is exactly what I meant when I said a lot of your gurus do what they do only because it's a source of income for them. I can't believe that people actually listen to this guy. And yes, giving birth is important for the continued existence of the human race. You trying to minimize that isn't going to take away the fact that if it wasn't for a black woman, your sorry ass, your egghead self wouldn't be here. Your father assisted in your creation. Your mother took it all the way past the finish line. You know, it's exactly this attitude that black women need to rethink bringing this type into this world. Let's continue.
Why the women that you're talking about, which are not all women, but the general population of women that you're trying to make your point based upon, are feeling the way that they feel. And it's because they've been taught that their life and their value is only based around the men that they can conjure up in order to marry them. So if a woman has not found a space in a man's heart or in a man's eye or a man's view of importance, then she is not important. And then you wonder why you have girls walking around shaking ass for a chicken box and $5 because they're listening to men and fathers like you.
Well, actually, women push women or inspire women to shake their ass for chicken boxes. If you just think about how many older women are running around twerking on tables like idiots, you don't think that is where young women are learning how to shake their asses for chicken boxes? The biggest enemy to black women is actually other black women shaking their asses for chicken boxes, teaching the younger generation to do the same thing.
So again, all black women aren't a monolith. I had never actually heard of any woman doing this. But the biggest enemy to black women isn't black women. It's black men. You are deleting black women and girls every 5.5 hours. I'll say that you are more of a threat than most black women are. The only women who are a threat to other black women are, surprise, surprise, those who advocate for you, those who associate with you, no matter what. Shocker.
Tell them that their one goal in life is to be seen as important by a male figure, and if you cannot do that, then you are useless. No matter how many degrees I also encourage you to get, no matter how many degrees I also encourage you to get.
Okay, she said, no matter how many degrees I encourage you to get. This is what I'm saying, ladies. Black women are the biggest enemy to other black women.
Why? For having an education? This is exactly what I was talking about when I said that black women keep getting the Carlton treatment. Who is listening to this guy?
Why do you need 8 degrees? Do you know how much student loan debt you're accruing by getting all of these damn degrees? What are you, Pokemon or somebody? You got to catch more degrees? Why? See, this is where a woman's need for self-worth comes from. She doesn't get it from a man. She doesn't get it from her own mother. She goes and gets multiple degrees. And next thing you know, she has $180,000 in student loan debt. What the hell? Oh, and still only makes $70,000 a year at her job.
I think you missed the point that your brother was trying to make. That degree statement was not meant in a literal sense. It's always been important and pushed within the so-called community for Black women to get an education because they have only had themselves to depend on. Black men don't provide shit for the children that they help create in majority of the cases. The only way out of Blackistan is through education. Genius? Let's continue.
No matter how much I encourage you to follow your passion and your talent, no matter how beautiful you are, no matter how beautiful you are.
So doesn't no matter how beautiful you are directly translate to your attractiveness to a man? So according to what she's saying, she's proving my point, saying no matter how beautiful you are, because your level of beauty most likely is going to get you a certain level of man. So what's another reason to be beautiful or your level of beauty having to do with anything? It's about your ability to attract the opposite sex for a heterosexual woman.
Not everyone is blessed in the looks department. Most people have to improvise. What's your excuse for not winning the genetic lottery? I mean, you're follically challenged and not very attractive. What do you have to say about that? You know, it's always the picky men that women need to be picky about that have the most to say. Newsflash, you're not a catch. Let's continue.
Sadly, ladies, your end all be all is marriage. Okay? Because virtually, I will say the majority of women want children. Okay? Majority of women want to start a family. Okay? And you cannot start a damn family without a freaking husband. So your end all be all is a freaking husband. And this is the problem with women running around telling other women that you don't need a damn husband to start having babies. And this is the crap that women, young women, are hearing from older women. It's just sickening to me. So the end all be all to all of you who want children is marriage. If you want to be a lesbian, if you don't want to have kids, if you want to do whatever, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the majority of women who want children. The end all be all is marriage.
The end all and be all of women is not marriage. A lot of young women today can't even find a decent man to get married to because a lot of you are not marriageable, nor are you marrying these women. Most Black men lack resources to even think about getting married. And in today's climate, a man has to at least be likable for a woman to even pay attention to him. Most of you lack personality. Why do you think the manosphere is full of angry beavers? They are rejects because these males lack basic social skills to engage with women. That is why you all got upset when Dr. Matos put out his findings on why most modern men are still single. And it's not by choice. It's because women are now choosing better. You're not a necessity anymore. Women these days are more than happy being single because they're not willing to date down.
What is your plan B if nobody marries you? Like, what is your plan B?
Y'all, as a married woman, I can tell y'all right now, these women do not care about not being married to y'all. I don't know what part of that y'all really not grasping. Right now, single women are more content with not being married to emotionally unavailable men, men that do not want to provide provision. They are fine with it. They are fine. They are fine. They are fine. They're going to keep getting their degrees. They're going to keep starting their businesses. You know what I'm saying? They might get them a little dog. They're going to keep on going to brunch with their friends and their homegirls. They don't care. I don't know why. Like, and it's starting to show that y'all can no longer insult women with, that's why no one wants to marry you. It's like, cool. No one wants to get cheated on and treated crazy by y'all anyway. They do not care. They don't care.
What a lot of you don't understand is that you do have to meet certain standards in order to be taken seriously. So it's always kind of funny to me because these relationships that you keep pushing are filled with more ego than provisions and happiness. If you spoke to Jessica X privately, she would probably tell you the truth, but then again, she's not going to risk losing her bag, is she? Because she's on the same hustle that you're on. I know that you're friends. That's why I mentioned her. Well, at least you used to be. These YouTube streets have eyes. Just remember that.
Your job as a woman is to, one, learn about how men think so you can learn how to cohabitate with one. See, women are going to spend 4 years in college learning how to do some shit that she probably ain't even going to start doing after she graduates from college, because there's a huge amount of men and women that go to college and they don't even get the damn job that they went to school for, right? Which is okay. But women don't spend any energy learning about the number one thing, because do you realize that the most important decision a woman will ever make in her entire life is her choice of a man?
Learn how men think? Are you kidding me? What is this? National Geographics? Do women need a 4-year degree to study men too? See, this is how I know that Mr. Letdown is not married. And these are the kings advising queens on how to get a man? Wow. This has got to be a joke.
Won't spend 5 minutes picking up a book on parenting, picking up a book about understanding men, and I can give y'all some books because I actually have a coaching group. I coach women, so I'll give you book after book after book after book, if y'all want one, to understand how men think. Women don't give a shit about how men think, and they think just because they're pretty and the guy trying to holler at them, he's just going to up and marry her. No.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Why do women need to do any of that? Do men take the time to understand women and how they think? The complexities alone of being human are that men and women are not dumbed down to the lower levels of simplicity. Women are not a one-size-fits-all. I mean, sure, we have similarities, but you have to personally do the work and understand the person that you're dealing with. You need to get to know someone on an individual level. Women aren't a monolith, and neither are men. Everything you're saying here is rooted in ego and misogyny. And as far as I can see, you are promoting abuse, which is normally aligned with cultish groups. Your God complex is most likely one of the reasons that you don't have a real career. It's funny how you can sit there, talk down to the very women who pay your bills, and still act as though you're above them. Black women who listen to you are lost. And so far, everything I've heard you spew here strongly indicates you're not worth a dime. I wouldn't give you $1 if you were homeless. This is giving nature boy. This is the gibberish that I'm always talking about. Everything that this male is talking about is drenched in misogyny, except we can't call it that in this case because this is just a brother-to-brother conversation, right? Pick up a book on how men think? I think I've heard it all. My brain hurts because this is ridiculous. I really feel sorry for Black women who haven't expanded their dating options. If this is all you have to pick from, no wonder the dating market sucks for Black women who exclusively date Black men. This is sad.
And I just did a video on YouTube, Mr. Lego on YouTube, that I illustrated that this whole what do you bring to the table comes up here, not cooking, cleaning, and all this other shit. But women don't know how to do that.
And if you as a Black woman are listening to Mr. Set It Off, girl, you're going to be single for the rest of your life. Hashtag divest. Hashtag all. This is insane. And I'll bet that the majority of his financial supporters are Black women. This is sad. If you're going to be in a respectful, committed relationship with a man, you're naturally going to care about your partner. This is why you need to watch out for these fake love gurus. The message that they are constantly putting out there is to keep you on edge, always gaslighting you. They're constantly trying to make you feel inadequate, making you feel like a hamster on a wheel, going absolutely nowhere fast. These people are constantly playing with your mind, always putting you in a state of anxiety. They want your mental state to always be busy, worrying about something. Have you noticed how they're constantly giving you little tasks? Hunting for a man that doesn't exist? Black women need to be careful from whom it is they get relationship advice. This guy is a joke. This is straight up comedy. The guy is a clown. He's out here preaching marriage, and I'll bet that he is not married. He's probably never been married. So what qualifies a person like him sitting on the internet giving relationship advice that is marriage-based? Who is listening to this guy? All I can say is, this is the beauty of the internet. Any idiot with a microphone can just self-certify as an expert. And I know that I'm going to get some dusty talking about, well, are you married? Don't worry about it, honey. I'm more than qualified. I think 13 years experience is more than enough for me to give marriage advice. You're welcome.
Last thing, none of our mothers was ever in life seen going to a gym and working out. None of our mothers. Ever in the history of Black people have you seen one of our Black mothers, oh, I'm about to go to the gym, or taking a kid to the gym? No, it's not in our culture.
Again, Black people aren't a monolith. He's making that assumption based on what he knows. He's making that assumption based on what he grew up with. Now, he may be right to some degree, but not completely. The conditions that a lot of Black women end up in, whether in the past or today, in a lot of cases, don't make it conducive for these women to take time out of their day in order to take care of themselves. A lot of Black people, generally speaking, don't have regular doctor visits either, and this can be attributed to culture and a lack of resources. Because again, he's speaking in reference to people who are still a part of the community, right? It's hard for Black women to run the so-called community, take care of themselves, their children, and sometimes grandchildren, and all these other children abandoned by Black men. There are only 24 hours in a day, and there's only so much you can do. Such is the reality, unfortunately, for a lot of Black women. But to say all, no sir, that's not the reality for everybody. We are not a monolith, and you sound ignorant. If you're going to have this conversation, tell the whole truth. What you're doing right now is cherry picking to fit your narrative. Most Black women are socialized to take care of everybody else before themselves. In order for a lot of Black women to move forward positively, there's a lot of deprogramming that has to happen. It's funny but not surprising how There are so many expectations piled on top of black women while these males are left to just do whatever they want. Majority of them are either unemployed or earn below the national average. So what's the excuse? White supremacy? Let me get this straight. On top of raising these children single-handedly, in a lot of cases, you expect these same black women to take care of the household, work a full-time job, go to the gym, and do everything else while the males who help create these kids do what exactly? Rest in their femininity? This is muling at its finest. Do black men take their children to the gym or encourage it? No, because most of them are out there chasing the next available vagina and creating more bastard babies. There should be no reason for any man to abandon a child under any circumstance unless he's just useless and a waste of flesh on a pile of bones. Divesting from all this toxicity is the only way out.
So all young women know how to do is cook and clean and be somebody's mom. So all these young women know how to do is listen to y'all, which is some bullshit, is go get a degree and cook and clean. And all you know how to do is be a mother, because most black women are single mothers instead of wives. So they don't know something that they don't know. So they're teaching these young women how to be a mom, because that's all they know how to do, is be a single mother.
Well, gee, I wonder how someone becomes a single mother. In order to prevent that from happening, both parents have to give a shit about the child or children that they helped create, don't they? Pointing that out is not a flex. Other communities look at black men as weak and crazy for even saying this. It's like you don't understand basic science, but you gurus will sit online and act like only black women are to blame for this. You know, I wish that most black women would come to their senses and stop sprouting XY. Get my drift?
Go to college, cook and clean, but they never take the time to say, hey, it's important for you to understand men. It's important for you to get some type of coaching and therapy. Just get around male figures, big brother, dad, uncle, best friend, somebody, so you can understand men. But nobody's teaching these women that one thing. So go ahead.
Do you know what happens to young black women or girls around black men? Even the ones they know, especially the ones they know, they are touched and violated sexually. So that's not a solution. Family members are the biggest predators in black families. Coaching? What are these males going to coach these black women on? How to deal with deadbeats? This is delusional AF.
Because it's likely that you've talked her into the idea of having a child out of wedlock with the promise that you'll do better and you'll be able to provide more at some point, and then that never happens. And so
really?
we end up in this, we end up in this business.
First of all, you're not going to keep highing me.
Okay, then I can leave.
Yeah, you get out of here with all this high shit.
She definitely had some good points, bro.
No, she did. The bottom line is she sit there and said, we have to bail y'all men out.
No,
we can't find a man to marry, but you can find a man to have a baby with, though.
Listen, I do not agree with the bail men out, because I personally believe.
So what do you agree with?
Some of the stuff about damn, I can't even remember a lot of shit.
See what I'm saying? You trying to figure out what she said that wasn't bullshit.
Me out, bro. I was trying to listen and absorb what she was saying.
Except she is a he. How did this escape Mr. Set It Off? He did a whole interview about heterosexual relationships and there was no woman in sight. You can't make this shit up. All that venom against women for no reason at all. Wow, this is insane. But yeah, these bottom tier black males who deem themselves as God's gift to women will say anything disparaging about black women, even in their absence, while talking to fellow men. Unbelievable. The funny thing is, a lot of people in his comment section were actually laughing because they knew that there was no woman on the panel. I wish I could say that I didn't understand why Hope Giselle keeps doing this. Unfortunately, I do. It's incredibly irritating, however, to have a biological male attempting to represent themselves as a Black woman. This is why the pushback needs to continue, because this is going to lead to a whole bunch of issues along the way. And to those of you who keep saying, well, you cis women are jealous of trans women. You just don't want us to exist. I mean, do you hear yourselves when you speak? Please keep your fragility to yourselves. First of all, don't call me cis. I'm a woman. Cis is a slur. You want others to get your pronouns correctly, yet you keep calling XX chromosome carrying humans cis. Get the heck out of here. It's disgusting and offensive. You're always preaching respect, yet you don't respect women at all. You know, it just speaks to their misogyny. Coming into women's spaces and trying to redecorate to suit their taste. If you don't understand where the term cis comes from, then you are indeed a supporter of grown men having inappropriate relationships with children. Let me tell you why I came to this conclusion. Any supporter of people who are okay having quote unquote romantic relationships with children is not to be taken seriously. The person who coined the term cis is an abuser of children. The term cis was coined by someone who is a supporter of child abusers. Matter of fact, it's been noted that this person said there is nothing wrong with pedophilia in the sense of the word. That is against liking or even loving children. The sensuality that unfolds between a child and an adult is something wonderful. This is who coined the term cis. I will not have a pedophile tell me who and what I am. And for those of you who are delusional enough to think that this is a scientific term, you're wrong. Now, Fox Soul a while ago had another panel with trans women and women having a conversation, right? For the most part, the comment section was good because a lot of women came into the comments and expressed exactly how they felt when it came to this matter. I saw a comment, presumably by a trans woman, right? In which this person says, cis was a scientific term. And I do find that problematic because every time you leave a certain group of people to run off and create narratives based on an agenda, who do you think would mostly benefit from whatever it is that they're trying to push? Cis is not a scientific term, as they would want you to believe. And just because some higher educational institution decides to post it online does not give it any more credibility. The only people insistent upon this prefix are those who have something to benefit from this agenda. I'm not a cis woman. I'm just a woman. So thank you, but no thanks. And again, it just speaks to the arrogance of a lot of these males. This constant undermining of women by some men while attempting to make us all feel as though the only time that we're ever worth anything at all is when we're linked to them is ridiculous. I think the hostility coming from a lot of males these days is really putting women off, further reiterating that most women are better off and happier alone. As far as having children is concerned, scientists have already found a way for women to have babies without men. There are articles dating back as far as 2001, possibly earlier, where fertility specialists reportedly found a way for women to have babies without men. but we're the inferior ones, right? This procedure involves a cocktail of chemicals acting as artificial sperm to trick a human egg into forming an embryo. The stunning discovery alarmed medical ethics campaigners who described it as turning nature on its head. Researchers say the technology could be used to help women whose husbands are infertile, but who do not want to use a sperm donor. Any babies born from this process would be female and genetically identical to their mother. The discovery was made by researchers from the Institute for Reproductive Medicine and Genetics in Los Angeles. Now, there are several other articles besides the one I just quoted. I'll leave the link to the article in the description bar below for those of you who are interested in reading further. And look, whether or not this technology is going to be used on a global scale, only time will tell. There are a lot of people who are worried about the very existence of it, that they will do anything to not make this the norm. We do, after all, live in a male-dominated society, and I don't see this going mainstream anytime soon because no man will want to advocate for his own demise. I'm just saying. Continuing on to Mr. Letgo, this man is on a hustle. His aim on YouTube is to earn money, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? The only issue that I have is that he's doing it at the expense of Black women. The fact that he picked a biological male to do an interview with on matters of heterosexual relationships, but still managed to spew toxicity and give dangerous advice to Black women is very telling. A lot of these Black males are not only in competition with Black women, they hate Black women for various reasons. One of those reasons being that they want to be Black women themselves. I'll prove that to you in a moment. In the meantime, let me address this comment that I found in his comment section. You know, there's always one village idiot who stands out like a highlighter pen, spewing a lot of nonsense, thinking that he's saying something profound, when really all he's doing is showcasing his low comprehension skills. Here's what this guy had to say. So this is the quote-unquote woman king the sisterhood represents? Embarrassing to say the least. Okay, since you want to take it there, let's do it. Sir, I'm going to need you to sit down, keep your mouth wide open, and put a cock in it. I'll tell you what's really embarrassing. You, Black man, showing your depraved behavior to the rest of the world. That should be embarrassing to you, not to Black women. We have nothing to do with this. You have shown the world, time and time again, how you are so uncomfortable with masculinity and would rather embrace a version of femininity that women possess. This biological male is your representation, not Black women's. We are merely victims of your envy. You cross-dressers and shapeshifters ought to be ashamed of yourselves. When you're not out there telling Black women or women in general how we're going to be so mad when so-called trans women start bearing children, you are doing this. And this going to do is turn this into a black woman's issue. There's nothing that we as black women can do if the black male's preference is to rest in his femininity. There is nothing that we can do if emulating real women is something that you want to do. How dare you make this a black woman's problem? This is a black man's issue. This is how you show up in the world. This is how you want the rest of the world to see you. You have made dress wearing for men trendy. These are black males portraying themselves in this manner. Are they not? What does this have to do with black women? Black women have 99 problems, but a dick ain't one. The audacity of you males always passing the buck and wanting to make everything the black woman's problem is disgusting. This is how the world sees you. And everybody knows that most of you are on the DL anyway. Stop blaming Hollywood for putting you in dresses. You are more than willing and more than happy to do so. Now, this is an issue that you're either going to have to accept or do something about. Don't bring black women into this mess. This is not our problem. It's yours. You've been promoting to the rest of the world how black women are so masculine, but not telling the full story as to why that may be in certain instances. The fact that black girls and women in Blackistan have to adopt certain behaviors to shield themselves from a lot of your predatory behavior speaks to your inability to keep your dicks in your pants. If black girls and women started acting all whimsical in Blackistan, they would be prey to your unwanted sexual advances. It's bad enough as it is. Everybody knows that being in such environments would not benefit black girls and women acting quote-unquote feminine or soft. They have to have a hard exterior to fend off the sexually deviant nature of black males. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. A lot of you black males are sick in the head. And the reason you have sold the black women are masculine narrative is because you envy black women and wish to occupy our spaces. This is not an opinion. This is a fact. Look around you. There's proof of it everywhere. You want to be treated like women, and that is why you're always commenting on black women's looks, black women's hair, black women's makeup, etc. And it's not so much that you hate those things, right? You just don't love them on black women because you want those things for yourselves. You have become so comfortable around black women and not in a good way. Most of you have vagina envy, and that is why you're always going out of your way to denigrate the image of black women. You play a huge part in that and have absolutely no shame doing it. You enjoy being around black women in order to learn certain things, and once you're done cultivating that information, you then turn around and tell us how much better you are at being a woman than we are. I beg your pardon? Green is definitely your color. The sad part of it all is that there are black women who support you. They cheer you on because they think that you have pure intentions in regards to black women, but you don't. You want to blur the lines between real women and yourselves because that no matter how much surgery you get to try and appear womanly, there is always and will always be that little thing. You know what I'm talking about. That element of masculinity to you. There's always going to be that, well, that looks like a woman, but something isn't quite right. Even Janet Mock couldn't mock me, honey. As passing or as quote-unquote fish as he may appear to be, he's still a biological male. And that is why you punch down on black women. Because if you can sell to the world how masculine we are, the harder it'll be for the world to actually tell the difference between the aspiring and the natural born. Sadly, what I do see happening in the future are women having to defend their own femininity, their own womanhood, their own true existence. The fact that we're natural born women is going to be up for debate. And don't you dare be offended by that, because you will be shamed and called all types of phobic. Such was the case with Letitia, a black female YouTuber from the Ivory Coast, who had to remind people that it's offensive for people from that community, or anywhere else for that matter, to go around asking a natural born woman who isn't a part of the alphabet community what her pronouns are. Take a look.
Asking for pronouns is not a thing in Ivory Coast, but on the internet, since I'm connected to the world, I've been asked my pronouns several times, and even shamed when I express my offense concerning this question. The people asking for my pronouns surely mean no harm, but I can't help feeling the way I feel, extremely uncomfortable. And I'm not the only one to feel this way. Why would you be offended by such a simple question? You just have to say your pronoun and move on. It just shows your bigotry. Well, because I feel like my womanhood is simply denied every time this question is asked. In most cases, it is very easy to differentiate a male from a female. How can someone ask me if I'm a woman when it's very obvious that I'm a woman? My womanhood has shaped most of my experience, life, and struggle. Assuming with this question that maybe I'm not a woman is very insulting. It is very hypocritical when people act like they don't know what I am if it's not in my bio. Society don't ask girls what they are before making them live hell because of the way they were born. Most of us in a lot of places in the world can just decide to stop being a woman because as soon we are born, sometime even before we are born, our body will always make us experience a woman life. Society don't ask pronoun of girls that they mutilate. They don't ask the features pronoun before committing sex-selective abortion. They don't ask pronoun of girls that they marry by force. They don't ask the pronoun of the woman they discriminate and isolate because of the period. They don't ask the pronoun of girls that have their breasts flattened and pounded because it will attract boys. They don't ask pronoun before deciding they will not put a girl into school just because she's female. They do it because they see we are women. They do it because we were born this way, and changing pronouns can't make us escape those treatments. When social media delete my account because of a topless picture, they don't ask my pronouns. I can't go walk in the street at night, get drunk when I go party, because I know before raping me, they will not ask for my pronoun. They don't ask my pronouns before harassing me when I go outside without a bra. They don't ask my pronouns before calling me disgusting, dirty, ugly when I post a picture where my armpit hair are visible. And they don't ask the pronoun of this man they call sexy and viril for the same picture. They don't ask my pronouns before refusing to pay me as much as men. They don't ask my pronouns before judging me for my sexual behavior. They don't ask my pronouns before submitting me to very coercive beauty standards. They don't ask my pronouns before denying me reproductive rights. They don't ask my pronouns before abusing me in every aspect of life, in hospital, at home, at work, in the street, in public transportation, at school, everywhere. They don't ask my pronouns before deciding which role I'm supposed to have in this society and shame me when I try to escape it. They don't ask my pronouns before making me experience a lot of injustice. Today, I've been able to find pride in this womanhood that I've hated before because of the experience that is linked to it. So I will not let the same society who make me live hell because I'm a woman pretend hypocritically that they don't know that I'm a woman. Some people will also be offended if you don't ask their pronouns, right? What is the solution? I don't have it. But know that my feelings are just as valid as theirs.
I'll leave the link to her channel in the description bar below. Now, let me just say this. As far as femininity goes, only a woman knows what that truly means. Now, this is not to say that all women are quote unquote feminine, But the current dating market's take on it is very infantile. You can still be feminine without completely acting like a child, which a lot of these males on the internet advocate for. It's not too far-fetched to suggest that what is perceived to be feminine behavior by society consists of childlike mannerisms. You know, the little giggles, touching of the hair for attention, acting as someone incapable of doing certain things to lean into the male ego, basically putting on a performance while tapping into his masculinity. Femininity, as it pertains to them and what they want, consists of grown women being docile, grown women not having an opinion or any say in relationships, grown women worshiping the ground that they walk on because someone told them that they are a leader for simply being male. It doesn't matter if they're dusty. They will demand it regardless. Grown women are supposed to be submissive without questioning anything in life. No pushback at all. Because of course, that would be considered combative, right? No man wants a combative woman. These males are looking for women who will do anything and everything that they say, with no regard to them being adults. They want you to be happy, regardless of circumstance. You're supposed to have a smile on your face 24/7. You're supposed to be on your best behavior at all times. And don't forget to be at their beck and call. Just imagine this. You running around in a field of daisies, chasing butterflies while the sun is shining, happy and laughing, except that's not how life works, is it? Being feminine to them means being in a childlike state permanently, even if they don't qualify to be in a relationship with any woman at all. Fucking liberties. On that note, what are your thoughts on what's been discussed here today? Please leave your thoughts and comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And remember, ladies, caricatures, wannabes, imitations, and shapeshifters will never replace the blueprint. Only XX represents a woman. There is no Y in female. Thank you so much for watching. This is Divested Diamonds, and I'll see you next time. Bye, diamonds.